Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome. It's House Divided, Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That's Chad Hastings. We're brought to you by Texas Card House, the guys over at Hijack Poker, otherwise known as the host of the Nooner. That is the 12 o'clock every single day, Monday through Friday. That's the $10 buy-in tournament that they do. That's right. Real poker, really online with real cash against real people, just like the good old days when the poker boom first went boom. Oh, I remember those days. So does Chad. That's when we first started doing shows together, and I would ignore him because I was in hands on Poker Stars. But now the new game is Hijack Poker. You got to be inside the state of Texas. You got to scan that QR code or go to hijackpoker.com. But they are the sponsor. We love them. Go play some poker today. Get your fix. Mr. Hastings, we're going to have an Arch Manning conversation today. It probably is worth admitting, it's Friday. It's a weekend.
Yeah.
And there is an element of Arch that I think for a little bit today will be pretty interesting. We should also mention, pay attention if you're watching live later on today, Football with Friends, maybe even afterwards. I think Texas is expecting some recruiting news today. We know who it is. I'm literally in the middle of writing the instant analysis piece, but I don't know that I have the liberty to just start spouting stuff off. What I would say is I think it's expected to come from out of state. It's not a name that we spent a lot of time talking about, quite honestly, but I'm intrigued. And so stay tuned. There's that stuff going on. Texas baseball this weekend, trying to take a step forward to an SEC title. So lots of stuff going on. South End Zone Queen. Man, just so you know, South End Zone Queen.
Might be an and. If he eats enough enchiladas and loves them, it might be an and bust. You never know.
So I told the person that was involved in the other thing story. I'm not even going to say it, Chad. I'm not going to get us off the rails on a Friday.
No, but yes. Okay. Yeah.
But it rhymed with smell smoke.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, FYI, I mentioned that on the show today. And then I told that person that it was in the context of I had never asked questions about enchiladas because I've never had them.
Mm-hmm.
And this person's response was not, you talked about the smell smo. It was, what are we waiting for? Let's go get some enchiladas.
Let's go get some enchiladas. Right now, you're gonna have a list of friends, Catch, that want to be there when you try your first enchilada. Like they're really going to be excited about it now.
So I thought that was funny. Look, I do not have plans, South End Zone Queen, but it's clearly going to happen. I don't have like an answer. Now that I know it's not beans.
Right. We need it to happen. It needs to happen in that box right there. And when it does, I'm going to do this. We're going to be just like this. We're going to zoom in and we're going to have the official reaction.
I'm going to treat it like I'm playing poker. You're not going to get Bill Murray in Groundhog Day.
Oh God.
Or not Groundhog Day, but what about Bob where he's like,
or remember that cartoon dog back in the day that would hug himself when he would eat one of his treats and lose his mind? You're not doing that. Okay. All right.
All right. So look, to the discussion at hand.
Yes.
Which could, I suppose, just be the continued discussion of enchiladas until that happens. I asked you a buy or sell question. So look, if we go back to the beginning of the week, one of the things I wrote about in my 10 thoughts from the weekend was, by the way, hold on. Jesus Christ. Just a second.
Wow.
I'm asking a source a question.
Okay. We're in the middle of a source discussion.
Well, yes. And then the source answered me back.
Okay.
But asked a question about a player that I wasn't asking about. Sometimes. Then I realized the initial thing that I asked him was about the wrong person.
Oh, I see. Yeah, sometimes when Catch gets distracted, it's not hijack poker. Sometimes it's other things. Sometimes it's like important.
I'm trying to ask a Felix Ojo question
There you go.
But I asked the person a Michael Fasusi question.
A little bit different.
So that person was like, is he leaving Oklahoma? And I was like, wait, what?
Now we're confused. Hang on. Hold on. Let's go back. Let's back up.
If you go back like 25 seconds and you
Yeah.
then look at my reaction where I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Come on.
That's what that was. That's me realizing, hey, one of my sources getting back to me. And then, oh, what have I done?
There you go. All right. So back to Arch Manning and
Yes.
expectations.
So I wrote about Quinn and kind of like my initial scouting of him when he was a sophomore. And then that turned into a conversation about him as a prospect and kind of what he was and what he wasn't. And, you know, he's the lowest rated number 1, or I think even number 2 overall rated quarterback that's ever come out. That previously, if I'm not mistaken, the number 1 or number 2 highest rated guy was Jimmy Clausen, and he goes in the 2nd round. And Quinn goes in the 7th round. And so there's like this idea of, was he a success? Was he a bust? Which feels really tough to say about a guy who led a team to back-to-back semifinal appearances in the playoffs, won the last Big 12, went to Alabama, went to Michigan, like put some of the biggest ass kickings on Oklahoma in the history, right? It feels weird to say that about a guy that accomplished that, but we know that the expectation was to be the number 1 overall pick in a draft when he was supposed to come out from college to the NFL. That was the expectation that's who he would be.
At least the first round.
We're having a conversation today, like, well, what does that mean for Arch?
Right.
And I said it means he's got to be the number 1 pick in the draft when he comes out, whenever he comes out. That's the expectation. And then I told you about a conversation that took place on Orange Bloods where someone threw out in a 12-game season, Chad, 4,000 yards passing and 40 touchdowns.
Boy, that's
and would you take that today? Kind of a, you know, if it's his let's make a deal. Now, yeah. I would say, since that would be the greatest passing season in the history of the school by actually some distance, my opinion when I saw that was, yes, yep. Mr. Devil, do you want my kidney or my soul, or what is it that you exactly want from me for this 4,040-yard touchdown season in 12 games?
I was about to say the 12-game thing is there because we're in a world now where with a 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th game, those discussions catch. Will Howard almost did it last year.
And you know what? Maybe I shouldn't say.
Like, let that sink in. He got 4,000 passing yards last year, Will Howard at Ohio State, and he had 35 passing touchdowns. So he was short on the touchdowns, but he was, you know, that's in 16 games, though.
But here's what it comes down to. Texas fans know that Steve Sarkisian was the coach at Alabama in 2020 when Mac Jones in 13 games threw for 4,500 yards and 41 touchdowns to go along with only 4 interceptions.
Yeah, it's goofy. 77 completion percentage. With that many attempts, with 402 attempts, catch.
He had a 203.1 quarterback rating.
How do you throw 402 balls and 77% of them are caught? That's crazy. It's just crazy.
He averaged 12.79 yards per attempt. No, I'm sorry. It was 11.2 yards per attempt. I'm getting my stats mixed up. So look, the numbers were just ridiculous. And we know that Mac Jones is not the LeBron James of the NFL right now. That guy was a byproduct of the coaching and the talent around him.
Yeah.
This is kind of what Texas fans did expect of Quinn Ewers. This is what it was in the beginning, Chad. And then towards the end, it just turned into he's our guy. Y'all got to quit talking crap about him. But before he ever played a game, Texas fans would have literally looked at what Mac Jones had just did a couple of years ago and said, well, God, if you just put Quinn Ewers on that Alabama team, he throws for 9,000 yards. No, it's not like that. But the expectation would have been generational prospect with a generational offensive system surrounded by NFL talent. And while certainly Texas hasn't had Alabama 2020 wide receiver talent, I mean, they've had really good wide receiver talent. Nobody would suggest that over the last couple of years, Ewers didn't have, legit NFL high-level draft prospect guys to throw to. And in the end, maybe Matthew Golden, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see who has the best career out of all of the guys that Ewers has played with or that Sark has coached in high school. Guys like Waddle and Smith set a high bar. But, Matthew Golden didn't get drafted by the Packers to be a bum. So it's possible that we will be talking about those guys kind of in the same breath as NFL players. But, Chad, it's just, we talk about Arch Manning. This is a guy that just this week, in the last couple of weeks, has been Texas is a preseason number one for a lot of people. And if they're not, they're number two. They will be I don't know what the AP will look like when it comes out, but at this point, it feels like it would be pretty stunning if they're not one or two. Mm-hmm. It's all about Arch. This is not the national college football media thinks Anthony Hill and Colin Simmons are the best 1-2 punch since LeVar Arrington and Courtney Brown. That's not what this is. By the way, how about that? I just pulled that one out of my –
LeVar Arrington and Courtney Brown. As an Aggie fan, Catch, I'd like to thank you for the nightmare you created tonight. Thank you so much.
I honestly, I didn't even stop for – there's probably some really obvious ones. I could just go back to Michigan from a couple of years ago or something. But for some reason, my default setting on badass 1-2 punches was the year – that I remember being 2 feet from Joe Paterno and hearing him basically tell a reporter, don't you dare mention LeVar Arrington's name in the same breath with Courtney Brown. And that he had two players that were so good that LeVar Arrington could be talked about like he was a scrub was just funny to me.
Yeah, that was quite.
Remember how good LeVar Arrington was?
Yes, Catch. I'm still having nightmares from the Alamo Bowl. Yes, I remember how good LeVar Arrington. Plus, he damn near killed Troy Aikman. I remember LeVar Arrington. You remember that day? I thought LeVar Arrington had killed number 8 at one point. I thought he was done. Thought it was over. By the way, super chats always welcome. And Jay. Honest mistake. I am not sure why we missed your super chat yesterday. Please throw it back in. You don't have to add any more money. Let it just throw us something that says super chat and what was your question yesterday. We will get to it. I promise. There was nothing nefarious as part of that. And Alan, I just like this chat in general. Ask the source if Arch likes enchiladas. We'll find out. We'll try to find out for you. Bet Arch Manning.
I still am intimidated by the entire discussion.
I bet Arch has had a.
I bet. Look, the poll results are in, by the way. Do you want to know?
Yes, please tell me. Catch asked the basic question on a poll. Have you had enchiladas? Where'd you end up?
A poll or an X poll or whatever I don't know how people now in 2025, I feel like eventually we'll get to a point where
they call it an Elon poll.
I won't call it that.
Oh,
okay. A total of 719 people voted.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to continue to shout out Michelle, who is my spirit animal.
What's up, Michelle?
Like me, she's just never been able to get over the sauce.
A enchilada person, yep.
719 people voted so far. There's 42 minutes left on the vote. If you want to go to my Twitter page and participate, I don't know that you need to. 96.1% said yes.
96.1%. Yeah, you didn't hit the threshold yet.
I did not hit the 4% threshold.
Much less that 5 that we were allowing you. I allowed 5 by the end, and
there was a moment yesterday when that bad boy was at 6, and I was like, "Here we go!" And then
you had the Steve Patterson percentage for a second. It was a 6% blended increase. All right. We've got some good chats here. We'll get them back to the Arch discussion. We've got some expectations coming in on the chat from people of what they want.
Don't worry, Arch. Michelle. I'm the thing is, I'm like ride or die with Michelle, but like people are talking, I'm gonna have to try the enchiladas, and then I feel like I'm gonna betray Michelle. And I don't even know Michelle, but I feel like she's my sister from another mother.
Yeah. And I think you guys have to agree to Thelma and Louise this thing. Either you both stay out or you both jump in. One of the two. You have to have like a pact one way or the other. That's what I think needs to happen.
Because I feel like she defended me. She did not have to come forward and throw herself out to the wolves to say this very shameful thing that I've been mocked over.
First off, we also need to find out where Michelle lives. Is Michelle a Texas girl?
That feels like stalking.
Not something about stalking. I mean, in general, Michelle doesn't have to give me her address, but where does she live? Is she a Texas girl? Like you're a Texas boy?
Because if she's in New York City, we would be like, oh, well, maybe that's why she hasn't even had.
That's what I'm saying. Does she live in enchilada territory? Does she live in a territory where we'd go, oh yeah, I bet they've got good enchiladas? Or would she tell us like, boys, I'm born and raised in Portland. It's like, okay, well, maybe enchiladas isn't going to be.
I had like Mexican food in Kansas once, and it wasn't Mexican. I don't know what it was, but it was
right. Yeah. So that I'd like to know that part. I'd like to know that. So we'll continue that discussion. Also, I got a few ideas for your mother today. Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday, depending on what mom likes. We mentioned hijack poker earlier. Mom might like online poker.
See, this is what you're doing, Chad.
What?
This is what you're doing, and Michelle, I'm not a part of this.
Now, see, I didn't do that. Michelle, they're being weird and stalky. It's not me. I'm trying to have a normal adult conversation.
You were like, we need to know where Michelle lives. And I'm like, well, easy, Chad.
Adult conversation is all I'm trying to have here. Like when adults go drink vodka. Your mom might like vodka. Go have her, tell her to go out and grab one of these cocktails. Look, this is not what I'd take my mom to do on Mother's Day because she doesn't drink. But you know your mother, and if your mother's into drinking, and your mother's into vodka, and your mother's into all kinds of cool flavored cocktails and great barbecue to go along with it, this might be the perfect spot. Deep Eddy Vodka, the tasting room is open Thursdays through Sundays. Get on out there, Mother's Day weekend or any weekend, and tell them you heard about it on Orange Bloods Live. It is always a good time out there. Michelle, you do not have to tell us anything you don't want to tell us, but I would like to get you and Catch in an enchilada pact. That's the fact. All right, Catch. Low expectations coming in from Anthony. He needs 5,000 passing yards.
We are now the two that are synonymous with this.
That's right. You're in it. That's why. And you might need to stay that way. You might need to stay in that group. Anthony needs 5,000 from Arch, and Paul wants even more. Anything less than 8,070 touchdown passes, Paul will be disappointed in Arch Manning. Paul, that is a wonderfully high bar. Well played.
Look, but to be fair, he is expecting Arch to play in at least 16 games.
I'm hoping that's not Paul's expectation for 12, because my God, would that be a hell of a 12? Look, if you're on Texas's schedule and he's going to do that in 12, y'all might want to just quit now.
Paul's like, let me tell you, Chad, here's what I'm thinking.
That is rough.
Take Joe Burrow's 2019 season and mix it with Barry Sanders' 1988 season. Just if the two had a baby together, Arch 2025. No pressure, kid.
No pressure at all. All right, here's that super chat we missed yesterday, Catch. I do recall seeing it, and we just didn't get to it, Jay. I'm sorry. It was Jay's $5 super chat. Catch, I had a hot take that the tight end position would continue to get better statistically for 3 to 4 after Sanders. Helm did it last year, but is this the year my hot take dies? So Jay's looking for continued improvement in that tight end room. Is this the year it falls back, Catch?
I'm sorry, Oscar was demanding that the show end, and then I realized, he just wants me to go eat enchiladas, and so nothing bad has happened. I thought maybe the world, nuclear. We were getting ready to all die, kids, but no, everything's okay. We don't have to actually end the show yet. First of all, I still think it's a little unfair to frame Helm having a better season than Sanders. I mean, he probably does in the end, but Sanders was hurt, and if we want to say, well, that's part of the Jatavian Sanders story, is that didn't put a full 12 games together and really truly have the super year. That's fair, but I don't know that I thought that the tight end play was better. It was that it was on that level, and I think they end up both being kind of viewed in the NFL as similar type prospects. No, you were more right though, Jay, than I was. I thought that there would be a decline. I don't think it dies, though. I think Jack Injuries comes into this season with more proven statistical success from a year ago. Keep in mind this about injuries. And I told this stat, I don't know, a week or two on the show. But of all of the Power 4 tight ends in America that are returning to college football this year, so SEC, Big 10, Big 12, ACC. If you take all of those teams, Injuries is the number 2 leading receiver among tight ends coming back. And the only guy that he's behind is the kid from Stanford that went to Ohio State. That ironically, the top 2 tight ends returning in college football from that specific statistic, Power Conference receiving yards. Those were the 2 guys that Texas kicked the tires on in the portal. One went to Ohio State. One went to Texas. I think Injuries, who had like 600 yards receiving last year, it's really easy for me to see Arch Manning throwing the ball to a damn tight end.
Yeah, Purdue to Ohio State, right?
Was it Purdue? Sorry. Yeah, you're right, Purdue.
Yeah.
That's right. What did I say? Stanford? Sorry.
By the way, this just popped in my head. Did you realize that when you say just the last name of that tight end, it kind of sounds like you're saying the word injuries, like people getting hurt?
Injuries.
Yeah, injuries and injuries kind of sound similar. We're gonna have to be real careful with that. I just noticed it
like injuries.
I know you were very clear, but as you're talking, I'm like, oh my god, it kind of.
No, I heard it in my head too. Like, every time I said it, I was like, it does sound like injuries.
Got to kind of be careful. Jay, thank you for getting that super chat in. Again, sorry that we did not get that to you yesterday. All right, Catch, we got a bit of a quick show today. You want to get a little buy or sell in at this point, or just continue with the Arch discussion?
Let's just finish it out. No buy or sell today.
No buy or sell. We'll finish out with the Arch discussion. Again, expectation level. Catch, let me just throw some names real quick.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
What is your over and under for the yards in 12 games? Well, no. Well, I guess maybe answer it however you want to, but I'm curious, statistically, I love to do this with coaches if they'll ever say it, right? Where it's say the thing out loud that's the bar, the goal, and then when it hits, and look, I did this my last year in baseball and Pop Warner or Pee Wee or whatever, it's Town and Country, where I made goals and I wrote them on the board like I was Willie Mays Hayes in Major League. And then I didn't come close to hitting those goals. The first time I ever set out statistical goals, and then I just was awful. And so I'm anti doing that based on my own life experience. But for you would set what for Arch?
I mean, overall, in the total games they're going to play, I think he hits your numbers. I think he hits the 4,000 and he hits the 40. I'm not quite sure if he does it in 12. 12 games would mean it's I think it's a 333-yard average, something like that. That's a hell of a clip on an average.
An all-time great college season.
That would be impressive.
But that's what Mac Jones had. Mac Jones had one of the top 5 all-time seasons of any quarterback that's ever lived.
Right, and that was in 13 games. So here are the guys in my head that I'll be comparing it to. These are the ones that I found. And you and I also mentioned the word Heisman today. So I think everybody I'm about to say is also a Heisman winner. All these guys went 4,040 in about 12, if not 30. It was 12 or 13, one of those two. Jameis Winston did it in his Heisman year in 13, and then catch for 4 straight years, the Heisman guy did it. 17, 18, 19, and 20. Baker did it. Kyler did it. Burrow obviously did it and set records that are so silly. And then, as you mentioned, Mac Jones did it. So I'm not going to quite go to that level on 12 games. I'll say it's a little south of that for 12. I think he gets over it, though, for the total games, because I'm expecting Texas to make a playoff run, minimum make a playoff run, and play. I think they're definitely going to play 14 or 15. And it may end up being even more than that. So I'll say by the time he gets to the very end, it's a little over. But 12 games, I'll say it's more like a 3,500, 35 touchdown kind of thing.
It's funny. I was about to say 3,500, 33 touchdowns.
Right.
Gets him in New York.
Yeah, probably.
Doesn't win him like that. That
Assuming
doesn't
right,
win him the Heisman.
Yes, that would get him. That would get him to that discussion.
But that, if he does that and they're 11-1, he's going to New York.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. I was trying to look up numbers of just to give people comparisons of like, so Vince in 05 was around 3,000 passing. Yeah. But he's also one of those guys you have to factor in the rushing part of it too for the greatness and all that. But with Arch, I think your question, the way you phrased it and the way we framed the show today is perfectly fair. Because I don't think Arch is not going to put like some kind of eye-popping number up running the ball. That's not what he's going to do. He's not going to do what Jaden Daniels did. By the way, I forgot Jaden Daniels had 1,100 yards rushing. That's stupid. That's absolutely stupid. And an 8-yard average. That's not Arch Manning. If it is, oh God. If it is, he's the only one to go to New York. They won't bring anybody else. If he has that kind of a year, they'll just invite Arch by himself, and that's all it'll be. So for you, 4,040 touchdowns. Do you think it's 12 games, or do you think it's just like? Do you agree with me that
he hits that number in 12 games?
Okay, yeah, I don't either. But now,
but I've never seen a Texas quarterback do that. That's not what Colt did. That's not quite what Colt did in his best.
Right.
So
no, it's not.
The best quarterback season I've ever seen with my own eyes didn't do that. That's to me, that really is like Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray type stuff. And that doesn't feel like what the Texas offense is. So I don't know. We'll see. Chad, right, I gotta go. I hate to do this to everybody, but
hey,
I have important stuff to do today.
Things got to be done. Boss got to be the boss sometimes. Catch, you go do what you need to do. I'll pay some bills, and I'll give the people my buy or sell. And then
that's why we didn't do buy or sell. There was no way we could do buy or sell, and he'd be out by 12:30.
There it is. Have a good weekend, man.
Later, fellas.
That is Jeff Ketchum, ladies and gentlemen, and he does need to run for a little something today. But don't worry, got a little bit more for you. Thank you all for throwing stuff in. Jay threw us another super chat that I frankly did not understand. I think I get it here, but $2 super chat. QE Agents hour-long interview on 364 Sport was weird. I did not see it, Jay. Did not see it. Sounds odd. Doesn't need to last an hour. That's what she said. That makes no sense. I don't know why you would go an hour on that, but hey, I don't know. I did not see that. All right. Yes, Morgan's got it right. Yes. Ketch has important things to do, like not talking to me. Yes. The most important things in his life for Jeff Ketchum would probably not be talking to me. That talking to me is what he does just for fun. The most important stuff is totally different. How about Thomas throwing in late breaking news? I just got tickets to the Ohio State game. Thomas, come on now. Exciting. 113 days from when I'm talking is that game. Thomas, have a great trip. Be careful. They are some vicious, nasty people. If you see what you want to see, if Arch Manning beats them, please make sure you have something covering your head as you're walking out. Head, and then no swivel on the head, just straightforward. Just duck your head and get out of there if Texas gets a win. But congrats on grabbing those tickets. All right. Let's get a couple of our other partners thanked here. We've not heard from Specs. That's coming. But also, speaking of your mother and Mother's Day, does your mother like steak? Does your mother like a good steakhouse? But does your mother not want to get all dressed up crazy to go to a steakhouse? Because that's not what Mother's Day is about, right? Mother's Day is not about formal events, at least in my world. Here's the world you go to. Taste on Main, downtown Buda. Take mom to Buda. Make sure you get a reservation. Go chill out. Maybe you go outside. We're in that beautiful spring weather time right now. They have a great tree house bar area. You can eat outside if you want. We got indoor seating as well. Got a couple different bar areas. You know, I'll recommend the Sam Elliott's mustache if mom likes whiskey. If mom's into whiskey, she's going to love that drink. They bring it to the table and the smoke comes out of it. It's unbelievable. The food is excellent. Remember, these are the people that bring you Hayes City Store. It's Travis, it's Tamara, it's that crew, and the steaks are incredible. I get mine Oscar style, a little steak and seafood at the same time. It's so, so good. The Brussels sprouts are incredible. I'm going to keep mentioning them because if you're like me and you're into really good Brussels sprouts, they're awesome. But I also mention it because if they've got really good Brussels sprouts, just imagine what other sides they have that you're going to love. And trust me, they do. Go have a great time. Go enjoy it. Tell them you heard about it on Orange Bloods Live. Take mom to Taste on Main. Shout out to all the good moms out there and to the bad moms that are trying to be better. Shout out to all of you this year. Chris Bennett. Oh, see, Chris Bennett. As soon as Catch said Colt, I thought, where was Colt on that? Chris Bennett's right there for us. 38-59, 34 touchdowns. I like the rushing yards too. That's 11 rushing touchdowns, Chris Bennett. That's nice. That's nice. So 45 accounted for altogether. See, I like that stat too. I like putting those together. Like I've got a little stat sheet here where I combine some Heisman years and big time years. Like Vince's year in 05, he combines for 38 touchdowns, 26 throwing, 12 on the ground. That kind of stuff is interesting to me. Here's one for you. Cam Newton in his Heisman year, he threw 30 touchdowns and he ran for 20. That's crazy, accounting for 50 just with the guy. But Chris Bennett, thank you for throwing that in. I do think this is, I'm going to say it's just a little south of this, but this is the kind of neighborhood maybe we need to look for. Maybe this is the mark, CB. Instead of thinking of it in the round number of 4,040 and 40 touchdowns, maybe we do think of it like this. We think of it as Colts badass 08. This is what we measure him against. Let's put the 34 number up. Let's put 30, make it whatever that is. Let's make it 3,800, right? 3,800, 34 touchdowns. Maybe that's the number. I like it. I like it. Ooh, Sandman's going to be there too. Sandman, enjoy it. Enjoy it. I've been to the Horseshoe empty. I've been to the Horseshoe in the summertime just to visit when it was empty. You definitely feel the energy around that place. I've never been to a game though. Definitely enjoy yourself. Morgan has a great idea. Yep. Rain spit coat. That's right. If Arch does what he's supposed to do, you're going to need something. I mean, they're going to be rude. They're going to absolutely be rude. That's what is going to happen. All right. Christopher throws an interesting buy or sell in here. Buy or sell. SEC goes to 9 games since ESPN is offering more money. All right, Christopher, here we go. I saw this in the chat earlier. I'm glad you brought it up. You guys give me your thoughts. I want y'all to buy or sell. Forget about will the SEC. I want you guys to make the choice. I'm going to say buy or sell. You want 9 conference games. Give me that. Give me your personal opinion on this. Because I have always talked about, I like the idea of 9, but I don't think the SEC is going there. I think they structure their lives for a reason. They're the SEC for a reason. They're not accidentally the SEC. They have 8 conference games. They allow for that extra non-conference, and I'll keep saying it. It creates more 9 and 10 win teams than would otherwise exist. I know we all make fun. I do it too. I make fun of the teams in that team schedule in the SEC. that my team schedules in the SEC. We all make fun of those schools, right? We make fun of the, oh, Lord, there it is. There's Wofford, there's Western Carolina, there's Kent State, there's whoever it is. But that gets you an extra win, and I don't know if the SEC will give it up. Christopher, to your point, what do we mean by more money? That's what the SEC is going to want to know. How much more money? And here's the other thing I would say if I'm the SEC. I'm in a world now where the playoff exists and they care about 4 conferences. But guess what? All 4 of them don't have the same number of conference games. If I was the SEC, I might agree to it. But I would also force the ACC's hand. Why would you allow one of your power conferences? You're going to allow a team like Clemson or Florida State, North Carolina, if Belichick starts rolling. You're going to allow them to get into the playoff, and we'll all look at their schedule and go, Furman, really? The Citadel, really? And everybody else had to do what they were doing, and everybody in the SEC got an extra look at an Oklahoma or Texas or Missouri or whoever it is. That wouldn't be fair. That's what I would do. If I'm the SEC, I say no until the ACC moves to. Have it all be the same. That's what I would do. But I'm interested to hear how much money is more money. That would be good. That should be good. Alan throws in a little Colt love. Colt deserved the Heisman that year and a chance at the Natty versus UF. I'm not quite sure if it was Heisman stuff, Alan. It needed to be. I mean, it definitely could have been. You're right about the Natty thing. God, if there'd only been a system. Can you imagine if there'd have been an actual system that year? And that Sam Bradford Oklahoma team and that Tim Tebow Florida team and that Colt McCoy Texas team are all in a playoff. Not to mention, I think that still would have been what? Isn't that still like Chase Daniel at Missouri? They'd have probably been in, right? I have to go look at the rankings and see where they finished. I know Texas beat them that year, but they weren't awful. They'd have probably been in the playoff. That would have been fun, man. Those guys all in a real system. That would have been cool. Alan, thank you for that. Appreciate you. Let's see. Oh, okay. It's another good one too. Chris Bennett, another good reason. Yeah. 34 touchdowns, the Texas record for passing touchdowns in a season. Okay. No pressure, Arch. No pressure at all. All right. Okay. All right. Here we go. Yes, Barb's 10. It's a rarity. Yeah. Had something to take care of. Had a meeting at 12:30 that could not be rescheduled. Had to do it. Yeah. Alan, bye. No more UMass Citadel or Wofford. In theory, Alan, I'm with you. I just don't know if the SEC is going to do it. I like the idea. I do. I think there needs to be more of that. The SEC needs to understand what they're saying, what they're doing with it. And if they go to 9, they're just going to have to continue to really be careful with who do you schedule? How do you schedule it? You know, you got to continue to protect, are they going to, try to protect certain teams from those schedules? Adding a whole nother SEC team. Like, think about last season. If you weren't going to have, say, South Carolina on your schedule, and then you did, okay, that changes things. Changes things a little bit. Texas fans, right? If I told you, hey, guess what? That game's out, whatever game you want, right? The Sam game or UTEP or whatever it is, San Jose State, one of those is out, and South Carolina's in. That's it's different. That's an effect. That. All right. Let's see. Ryan with an interesting idea here. I think you need to go divisions in the SEC for the reason of the strength of schedule and try and split it up. I don't know if they're going to do that either, Ryan. I get what you're saying. I'm not sure if that's where it's headed, but I am paying attention to what the SEC thinks about all that stuff moving forward. How do you protect all your rivalries? You brought Texas and Oklahoma in. You have to protect certain things, do certain things. And Ryan, I'll keep saying it. We have no clue what 2026 looks like. None. Zero. We don't know anything about 2026. Is it 9? Because if it goes 9 conference games, then just look out. All right. Let's see. A lot of good chats coming in. If you want to super chat up, you can do that. Let me get you a little Specs love. Speaking of your mother and Mother's Day, does your mom like tequila? Does your mom like her margaritas? Can your mom drink people under the table? Is your mom out of tequila? Did you watch her empty a bottle and smash it against the wall the last time you were over at her house? And she screamed out, I don't care if they got George Pickens. As long as Jerry's in charge, nothing's going to change. Sounds like mom needs a new bottle of whiskey. Specs has a sale going on.
It's tequila time. Who's ready for a margarita? Shake things up all month long with discounts on Blancos, Reposados, and Añejo tequila during Specs Tequila Sale.
You know Lisa's getting some tequila. You know it. You've seen her. We've shown her. She's out dancing. She's playing beer pong. But you know she's probably into some tequila as well. All right. This says from Cotton. At least stop the late season non-cons versus teams like Long Island. Practically an extra bye. Cotton, I'm glad you mentioned that. Do you know who doesn't have one of those games late in the season this year? Just as an interesting, just a fact I saw this week. You know who doesn't have one of those pillow games is what I call them. You know who doesn't have a pillow in November? OU. Oklahoma's done with those games on October 4th. The day Texas goes to Gainesville, Oklahoma hosts Kent State. They will have already played Temple, and they will have already played Illinois State. They also host Michigan in non-conference. Rest of the season, they don't have it. Here's how Oklahoma, I'm going to keep saying this because it's brutal. Texas fans, get ready to smile. Here's Oklahoma's schedule from Dallas on. They play Texas. They play at South Carolina a week later. A week later, they host Ole Miss. A week later, they go to Knoxville. Then they get a week off. Then to Tuscaloosa. Then they host Missouri. Then they host LSU. Interesting finish to the season. On the other side of it, Cotton, last year, remember, Alabama had to go to Norman right before the Iron Bowl, an actual football game. And they couldn't handle it, even though Oklahoma was not great. They couldn't handle it. They lost the game. This year, it flips back. I can't think. I'd have to look. It's Western Carolina or something like that. They do now have a pillow back in there before the Iron Bowl. Cotton, I agree with you there. Move those games. If you're going to do them, push them all up towards the top, restructure it a little bit. I would agree with that. I cannot wait to see what they do. I can't wait to see what they do with this thing. If they do anything at all. I don't know if the SEC is going to move, and it all depends, again, on how much money does ESPN have for them. All right, let's do this. Let's get my buy or sell. I'll throw it out to you. It is weird, and it was sort of meant for catch, but I think you guys could jump into it too. Got a couple musical birthdays to finish, but let's start with House Divided. All right, let's do it. Buy or sell, you think moving the Texas A&M game to Friday is fine. What day it's on doesn't matter to you. Give me a buy or sell on that one. Because this one's a setup for my feelings. I would sell. Y'all know, if y'all have listened to me, you know, I do believe the day it's on matters. I don't want it on Thursday. I don't want it on Friday. I want it on Saturday. I want it where it was last year forever. Saturday, evening window, period. End of discussion. That's what I want. That's not what we're getting this year. In fact, when I saw it yesterday, when I saw it get scheduled, I didn't see the Friday. I just saw November whatever, 6:30, and I just moved on. And then I went back and went, oh my God, that's Friday. That's not what I want. I don't want the Black Friday. But I know a lot of people are okay with it. Like Cotton says he's fine. Colby, another Longhorn fan, saying, no problem. A buy. I've sensed that out of a lot of people. Colby, I'd rather have it Friday than Thursday overall. And it's been that, obviously. Chris Bennett, super stat guy. Thank you. Yeah, 96-07. It was on Black Friday. Yeah, but I mean, some people, again, this is ZOVs like me. Sell was better on Saturday. I like it on a Saturday. Somebody else agreeing with me. But then Ryan jumps in and says, buy. He wants it on a Friday. He wants the Friday game. Chris Bennett likes the Friday game. So as long as it's – here's the other thing. You can't go Thursday to me because I don't want it lost among the NFL games. NFL goes 2-day games and the night game now. But you know what else the NFL started doing? A Black Friday game. They have a game there now. Remember, Stones Paint It Black is playing last year. I think it was Raiders Chiefs. I don't want the game to kind of, get lost or whatever. So that's just me. And S. Roan just cuts all through it. Bye. Texas going to pound them Farmers. Either way. All right. Colby, I do agree with you overall. It could be on yes, if they kicked it at 3:15 on a Wednesday, it would not matter. Morgan throws it in and says tradition, Thanksgiving or Friday after Thanksgiving. I thought Aggies were all about tradition. Morgan, that's one I just don't care about. First off, I'm a different type of Aggie, but getting to experience all three versions, I like the Saturday version. And especially now that I've actually gotten to get that feel of last year. Plus I've gotten to see it before, Texas was in the SEC and A&M was finishing off with, Missouri or LSU or whoever it was. I liked that being a Saturday. I didn't like it being on Thanksgiving because it gets in the way of all the family stuff. And I didn't even like the Friday's okay. It's better, but I'd rather it kind of stand alone on that Saturday. So we will see. I didn't love that for the rivalry. I think that, I don't know. I think there's a little disrespect going to the rivalry there. But frankly, I think that's kind of on, that's kind of on my team's side of the rivalry. I don't think that's on you guys as Texas fans. Obviously, you're going to be like preseason 1 or 2. I think that game, prime time on Saturday, I think it didn't live up to some of the expectations. And I think that's why they kicked it back to Friday. Just my opinion on that one. And then Chris Bennett also letting us know they went Egg Bowl at 11 a.m. on Black Friday. See, I don't love that idea either. I think the Egg Bowl needs to be at night. That's just me. That is just me. I know. But that tells me, Chris Bennett, that they're probably going to avoid, they're trying to get away from Thanksgiving. They used to put the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving night. I think they know they're going to get outrated by an NFL game there. So maybe move that one. And we all know what's on Saturday. The other big one that Texas competes with in the SEC is the Iron Bowl. But you also have Florida State, and you got Oregon, Washington, and you got some other games that, kind of get in the way there for all that stuff. All right, there's a good start to your buy or sell. Let's peek into basketball real quick. The Celtics will lose the series to the Knicks. Buy or sell. It's an easy one, right? This is a buy. They're down 2-0. They're down 2-0, and both happened in Boston. It's got to be, right? Now, the Knicks have had both at times. The Knicks have had the ability to come back on people, but this is a team that just had, it's cool when you say, man, I had to come back from a 20-point deficit. But then all the Knicks faces told you after game 2 how it wore on them, because they all were like, oh my God, we got to stop this. We've got to stop starting this way. We have to figure out the beginning of this game. Look at this. See? Brandon says sell. He's not buying yet. He's not buying it yet. Hooked on the Horns is buying it and likes the idea of the Knicks. Hooked, I hope you're right, because I'm an anti-Celtics guy. I've always been I've just never been a Celtics, fan, and I'm a Mavs fan. So last year did not help my dislike of the Celtics. So I hope the Knicks get it done. I'm not a big Knicks guy, but in that discussion, I go Knicks. And Christopher's not buying either. He needs to see it. Ryan, I think you're right. I think they're gonna. I don't think you can do that. Not at home. Not at home, blowing those 2 leads. I don't think the basketball gods let you have that series after it's over. And by the way, I get the theory of a team is what they are, and you can't ask them to not be themselves. Okay. The Celtics took 100 threes in these 2 games, and they missed 75 of the 100. And do you know what Jason Tatum had the nerve to say at a press conference after game 2? He said, yeah, we have our style. We are what we are. And we're not going to change that just because we're missing shots. Man, that's powerfully stupid. That's powerfully stupid on purpose. Yeah, we're just a football team that loves to throw deep. Right, but you missed 12 deep balls in a row. I know. You know what that tells us? Keep throwing. Okay. Okie dokie. I think my frustration is also, as a Mavs fan, where were all those misses last year? Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. All right. Let's get to number 3 and let's get to this arch discussion. Let's throw it out to you guys. All right. I'm going to say this is total season in 2025, 45 plus total touchdowns. I'll even throw rushing touchdowns in, and 4,300 passing yards. So, and you know what? Let me say that it's 34 or more throwing the ball. So we can get him. That'd be like 11 rushing touchdowns, by the way, or more. But let's say he sets that record Chris Bennett's talking about, and 4,300 passing yards. Buy or sell? Do you like it? I know you love him. I know he's your guy. And frankly, Longhorn fans, me and anybody else who's rooting for other teams, we're all kind of jealous. We're all kind of jealous that y'all get Arch Manning and nobody else does. Is he going to be this good? This good? Because let me tell you, if he does that, there's no way he's not in New York. Easy New York if he does this. If he does this. And you're probably rolling through the season pretty well. I don't know if this guarantees you a national championship game or a Final Four. Or I don't know. Hook says bye. He likes it all. Bring it all. 4,500 and 45 plus. That's what he says. Mark says sell. Hopefully Arch rests many fourth quarters. Oh, I like what you're doing, Mark. See? Like that. Mark will take something a little more pedestrian if it means Texas is just slaying people. That's what he wants. Nothing wrong with that. He'll get his chances in September. He definitely will. Wild schedule for Texas. Wild schedule, but in a good way. Spread out nicely. Brian says, I want to buy, but I think he doesn't do it. Game in Columbus. Distance between there and the Swamp, October 4th. Distance between there and Athens, November 15th. And what a weird home schedule this year. So odd. For you Longhorn fans that love going to DKR, wow. It really is the Hogs, the Aggies, and that's it. Hogs, Aggies, Vanderbilt, San Jose State, UTEP, and somebody else. That's it. It's weird. It's a weird schedule. Let me make sure I've got that right. Let me make sure, because I was looking at this yesterday and it just kind of got me. Yeah. San Jose State, UTEP, SAM, Vanderbilt, Arkansas A&M. Another reason I would have kind of liked them to push that A&M game towards Saturday night. I'm hoping that structure of the schedule means that you Texas fans are going to be really jacked about going to the A&M game, really excited about it, and that it really does have this crazy, cool, unbelievable feel. I did not quite think that November 30th of last year had that. That was a little disappointing to me. So it is also me being a little hurt that they moved it to Friday, because I do think it's a demotion of sorts. I don't like the fact that they moved it to Friday. I think if last year had been this unbelievable, incredible showcase, record crowd, all the stuff, I think they would have left it on Saturday, but they didn't do that. All right. Ryan, thank you for your thoughts on that. Arch Manning, could he get to that level? 45 total touchdowns or more, 4,300 passing yards in all the games. All right, let's get to the music stuff to finish off today. Birthday time, buy or sell number 4. Shabuzi is 30 years old today. You know who he is, and somebody in your house is a fan. Buy or sell. I was going to give this to Catch, so that's a very, it's a very specific thing. That only applies to Catch, his wife, and his 2 kids. All of you now are in this discussion. You know who Shabuzi is, and somebody in your house is a fan. Let me know. What is the Shabuzi factor in your home right now? He is 30 years old. I'll let you know it's a he. I told you it was a he in the buy or sell. as well. Here we go right there. Yeah, okay. I'm just marking a couple chats here on the way. Hook says sell. Yeah, sell. Either doesn't know or nobody's a fan. Or Morgan says who? Yep, right. Morgan, some people would say if you love country music, you should know who Shaboozey is. Others would argue with you on that front. I'll leave it at that. Uncle Mickey says yes and no. Knows who he is. Nobody in the house is a fan. Fair enough. Nobody in the house is a fan. I will say this. If you've always been bothered by like certain aspects, like if country music bothers you and you think it's too, I don't know, too a lot of different things for you, maybe listen to Shaboozey. It's like easy listening country. Is that the way to do it? Maybe something like that. Yeah, maybe. Might want to check it out. Happy birthday to Shaboozey. All right, and finally, let's go with this one. I'm really interested now. Now that we're expanding this to all of you, I'm assuming a lot of you are good basic rock and roll fans. A legend has a birthday today, and I'm letting you pick the songs at the concert. Here we go. Buy or sell number 5. Billy Joel is 76 today. If he was performing a concert at your house, any room you want in your house, and he only had time to play 3 songs, you get to pick the songs. Uptown Girl would not be one of them. Buy or sell. For me, this is a buy. I'm not wasting Billy Joel's time with that song. If I have 3, there's no way I'm saying Uptown Girl. This is basically a test of your Uptown Girlness. How much are you guys into Uptown Girl? Look, I saw Billy live recently for the very first time. He played Uptown Girl. Was it good? Yes. Could I have done without it? Absolutely. But the place went crazy. The place went wild. It's one of those songs that some people just adore. And what I'm asking is, if he's in your living room and you get 3, is Uptown Girl one of them? Mark says, okay. Mark says buy. Mark's with me. Buy. It would not be one of them. There you go. Here's another one. Another buy. Yeah, right. I'd go somewhere different. I would go somewhere different. Okay. All right. I think I answered it right. Thank you, Uncle Mickey. Definitely not. Another buy from Dave. Text guy says, no effing way I'm doing it, right? You wouldn't do it. Morgan's going to throw in his ideas. Morgan, I think I got to go Piano Man, right? He goes goodbye to Hollywood and something, something, something. Interesting. Morgan, I like it. I was thinking Piano Man. After hearing it live the one time I did, I think the Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, if that's what it's called, you know what I'm talking about, whatever that song is called, that's really good live. Oh my God. Loved that song live. And I think it would be, it would be so. And then maybe for me, I love New York State of Mind. That's another good one. Blows me away every time. So yeah, maybe. What if it was the Catalina one? Yeah, it's fair. That's fair. Jack says, you may be wrong. Always a woman to me, just the way you are. So no, man, those are good too. Jack, those songs are awesome live. You may be wrong. You may be right. That's a song I wasn't planning on being that good live. It was awesome. It was so good. So good. All right. Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. Thank you, text guy. It was so good. So good. All right. There you have it. There's your buy or sell for the day. Happy birthday to Billy Joel. Back to the Texas schedule stuff. Ryan says, I was looking at the schedule for tickets and thought, gee, there is no games at the best place on earth. Yeah, it's weird schedule, Ryan. And the fact that there's no home games in October. That's a weird stat. That is odd. Like, every year when we have that thing about does Texas have a home game when the F1 weekend is coming, the whole month is clear now. By the way, did I hear correctly? Garth at Coda? Garth on the super stage? And it's his only show? Like for the rest of 2025? I'm sure those tickets are cheap. I'm sure they're not even there anymore, but I'm sure they were cheap. It is a weird schedule, but I laid it out for you earlier, and it sounds almost like a joke when you say it out loud, but it's true. You play in Columbus, and then You're hoping, obviously, you win in Columbus, and then you get that kind of parade route in September we've talked about. But unfortunately, that parade route is kind of boring in a way. You hope it's just Arch putting up numbers. But UTEP, Sam, San Jose State, and then you skip, and from then you leave town, you do Dallas, you go road games in the SEC, and you don't come back until Vanderbilt comes to see you at the beginning of November. And then it's Arkansas and A&M to end the schedule. So, and the ending of the schedule for Texas does have a certain amount of fire to it, because back to what I said earlier, when I said, do you know who doesn't have a pillow at the end? OU. You know who else doesn't? Texas doesn't. They don't. We said they clean it all up earlier. That if you want to say the easiest game is Sam, that's much earlier in the season. Texas finishes the season with at Georgia, Arkansas at home, A&M at home in consecutive weeks. And now it's a short run on the last part. That's another reason to me, if you're a Texas fan, you want the A&M game on a Saturday night. You're going to play Georgia on a Saturday, and then you're going to play Arkansas on a Saturday, whatever that means. I know it's at home, but then you're going to turn around and 6 days later, you have to play the Aggies. I'd rather have the full week. I'd rather have that full week. And that's, to me, for both sides of it. And the other one here is from Chris Bennett. This one caught my eye. I thought the Lone Star Showdown ratings in 2024 would be higher than they were. Yep. Chris Bennett, I thought a lot of things about that game were going to be different. And I know when you guys hear me go off on that day, it's not just about the game. It's not just about the game and that the team I was rooting for didn't win the game and the Mike Elko stuff. Look, that's part of it. But I was just so disappointed in the Aggies that day. Everybody. I was just disappointed. I thought they'd care more, and they didn't. They didn't. I'm interested to see and feel for Texas on their side. How much are you guys going to really care about that game? I wanted it to be this unbelievable event last year. It was okay. It was all right. Go look at the numbers. It was like the third or fourth best Aggie crowd. The third or fourth? What? An Ole Miss game topped it? Yep. And an Auburn game, and there's another one. It was really disappointing for me. It just didn't have that feel. It's almost like the Longhorns and the Aggies can look at other SEC teams as SEC teams, badass SEC opponents, but they can't look at each other that way for some reason. It's like everything reverted back to Big 12 days, Southwest Conference days. Tailgating, is it badass? No. It's okay. It's okay. Is it SEC? Nope, it's not. Longhorn fans, let's see what you do with it in Austin. I wish it was on Saturday, but maybe you'll throw together something on Black Friday that will be awesome, that will live up to it. I didn't feel it last year. I didn't. It felt like kind of a thing. I was walking along in the tailgating area, and I saw dudes setting up their tailgate at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's just, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I'm not asking everybody to be LSU fans, but I was asking them to be better. And then Chris Bennett, to that point, the ratings, that was a close game. Close game. Should have been closer if somebody wanted to kick a field goal. I know. My feelings, I have to process. But that game, even though, and it looked like Texas was going to flatten the Aggies for a while, but it ends up close, still didn't get like a massive rating. And I think that's it, man. Ratings talk. That ratings money talks louder than anything else. And I think they saw it and they're like, yeah, we'll demote. Even with Arch Manning, quarterback in Texas coming up. There's something about last November that just, I don't know. It freaked him out. For this early in May to decide that it's going to be the Friday instead of something else. You could have waited, I think, but they didn't want to do it. So anyway, there you go. I will be interested on like May. Well, we're coming up on the 4th. I think it's 5 days from now. May 14th, I think, is the NFL schedule reveal. I do wonder if there's a Black Friday game again. And if so, what is it? Because that's something I don't want to get in the way. What if they put a badass NFL game up there against it? That's what I don't want. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried that they're going to do something, Chiefs and somebody, Bills and somebody, Eagles and somebody. and they're going to get and they get that massive rating and they throw it on NBC, and the Longhorns and the Aggies kind of get forgotten about. That's what I don't want. Yeah, we'll see. Christopher, I think you're right on that. 100 plus when they play on that Friday. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a record crowd. I'll ask the question for DKR because saying I'd have to look up what it is. We all know the capacity for DKR is right around 100, but the record's higher than that. Just like A&M, right? The capacity and the record are different. Will this be the record DKR crowd? My guess right now is no. That's my guess. And part of that, again, I'll put responsibility to that on the Aggies in a lot of ways. The Aggies had already stumbled against South Carolina, had already stumbled against Auburn, had injuries affect them, and that fan base walked in kind of murmuring. They didn't walk in with this incredible fire of a rival coming back that they were really looking forward to. I think there was a little bit of weird like resignation or whatever. So I wonder what the feel will be like when we flip it around and go DKR, Austin, 6:30 at night, Black Friday, with everything Texas could have on the line and the chance to show off against your rival, against one of your rivals like that in a night game. I wonder, will it be more energetic? Will it be a bigger crowd? I don't know. We'll see. We will see. And I don't think so. Something. Not sure if we'll set a new record. Hooked, I think you're right there. And I think Allen's right on this one too. Record crowd only if the Aggies are in contention for the playoffs. Maybe. Last year, the winner of the game went to Atlanta and it still didn't have that feel. It was so bizarre. It was such a weird feeling. I was not prepared for what that was going to be, but it was there. All right. Oh, good Lord. Jack with a real tough question. All right. For you Texas fans, Jack says, if you had to sit by yourself in the grandstand 50-yard line at Kyle Field or Archie Stadium, which would you choose? Jack, I don't think this is a choice, but I'm way too close to it. Because, hey, y'all know where I'm going to end up on that discussion. But I don't know. Jack says, I'm choosing the Aggies because they're not going to insult me and threaten my life like in Fayetteville. Yeah, Jack, that's part of it too. I could definitely tell you that part last year. I didn't feel a lot of crazy over nastiness coming out of the Aggies. That's not my thing anyway, but it wasn't that. There was a lot of respect going on. Because remember, that one's family. Big brother, little brother, however you want to state it, it's family when those two get together. It ain't family when y'all get together with the Hogs in Fayetteville. Stop it. That's not family at all. You need to know what you're getting into. Alan says, Arkansas probably. I was at the debacle in Fayetteville a few years ago. Was pretty incognito with my Horns gear. That's probably good too. Yeah. Morgan says, it's like asking, would you rather kiss your sister or your first cousin whose parents were first cousins? That's fantastic. Hooked says Kyle Field, and then Hook'em Ace. At least Kyle, we're all Texas. There you go. See, I just said it. There it is. All right, you guys. I think we will wrap it about there. Again, Catch had to duck out after about 30 minutes for a meeting today. If you guys have meetings or whether you don't, have yourself a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the great moms out there. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Also, since we are called House Divided, let's call your attention to it. How about House Divided on the softball field today, 6 o'clock on ESPN2? Aggies are the number one seed in the SEC tournament. They've been number one this year. Texas, I believe, has also spent time as number one. They're like the 3 or 4 seed in the tournament. They both win yesterday. Texas A&M, and I'd forgotten this. They weren't on the schedule this year together. Texas, the way they do it is 8 conference series, and the Aggies were not on Texas's schedule. They played in that super regional last year. Of course, Texas got by that one, but they haven't played in the regular season. They clash today for a spot in the SEC tournament final. Here we go. They're doing it in Athens this year, if I'm not mistaken. 6 o'clock, ESPN2. And oh, by the way, baseball fans, Texas, Florida is a 6:30 first pitch from the dish. That's on ESPNU. So get you a last button or a multiple screen, ESPNU and ESPN2 for Texas baseball and softball. Softball against the Aggies, baseball against the Gators. Those other two games against Florida, by the way, are SEC Plus games. Saturday, 1 o'clock, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Y'all have a great weekend. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and getting your notifications. We do appreciate it. Please like on the way out. If you didn't like on the way in, tell your friends about it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, which doesn't cost you anything. The more subscribers we have, the better off we are in the long run. We're up over 25,000, thanks to y'all. We're up over 15 million total views, thanks to y'all. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. And we will talk to you on Monday for another House Divided. Y'all have a great weekend.